Hello everyone, this is Yoko. On this channel, I feel that information about what is happening in China is often not correctly conveyed to countries other than China, so I will be disseminating the information I have gathered in English. I'm getting information from multiple media, so I'd be happy if you could comment on the content of the video. Also, my native language is not English, so I use an AI speaker to create the voice to convey the information correctly. If you like it, please subscribe to the channel and support us. This time, I will talk about when typhoons hit China, which will become more frequent in the future. Typhoons are common in Asia from July to October. Recently, a typhoon landed in China, causing great damage in various parts of China. Information about China is posted on Twitter and other sources, so we know that it is a serious problem in fragments, but there is no comprehensive coverage, so we need to know the scale of the situation. China suffers from floods almost every year, so even a typhoon tends to cause more damage. The recent typhoon that landed in China landed from the south of Taiwan and passed through to the north of China. Coastal areas are the center of the economy and densely populated, so many people suffer damage when a typhoon hits the coast. In one article, construction sites and factories are closed, and schools are closed. And since various markets are also closed, most of the city's functions have stopped. You shouldn't force yourself to go to work when a typhoon is coming, or work outside when it's extremely hot. In Japan, people are expected to go to work as long as public transportation is available, but I think it's better not to do so. So, when a big typhoon comes, the function of the city stops. The typhoon doesn't stay for months, but the water damage is serious. The video of the flood damage is spreading, so when I checked it, the car was considerably submerged. The water you can see is muddy water. So, it doesn't mean that you will be fine if you stay indoors only while the typhoon is coming. After the typhoon passes, we will not return to our normal life immediately. Cars are submerged in water and almost unusable. And since it is muddy water, it takes time to prepare a hygienic environment. So it will take some time to get back to normal life. So if we knew that typhoons would come every year, the government would normally take countermeasures, but China doesn't actively take countermeasures. After the typhoon passes, it takes time to recover, so each citizen needs to prepare for disasters. Even if one typhoon passes, another typhoon will come shortly after. The coastal area is also the center of the economy, and there are many people, so recent typhoons have affected 1.45 million people, and the economic damage is said to be about 3 billion yuan. When converted to Japanese yen, it is about 60 billion yen, but the first report announced that it was 2 billion yuan. After a while, it increased to 3 billion yuan, so the final loss may be even greater. When a typhoon makes landfall in China, it generally flows northeast and eventually disappears as a tropical cyclone. And that rain is now a big thing in northern China. Since Beijing was included in the northern part of China, it attracted a lot of attention. In Beijing, heavy rains continued from July 29 to 30, causing floods. Recently in China, if it doesn't rain, it will be a drought, and if it starts to rain, it will be like a flood. Roads will be flooded and rivers will rise, creating a dangerous situation. I don't know if there was a tendency for the damage to get bigger, or if there was actually a flood, although there was no information, but when a flood occurs, the damage will be bigger. I don't think it used to be this bad. If the roads become like rivers every time it rains, I think we should either move the city to a place where there is no water damage, or do some kind of flood control. So we can assume that China's climate has recently deteriorated. In any case, even in the capital, Beijing, water is not controlled. If a tropical cyclone moves north, Beijing will be in a dangerous state, and other areas will be even more serious. There are not many areas in China where you can live with peace of mind, and most of them are areas where the living environment is not stable. In other words, In order to make our lives safe and comfortable, there are many necessary national measures such as disaster countermeasures and flood control works, but in China money is not being spent where necessary. Therefore, no matter how much money the country has, it is repeated every year that houses are flooded and cars are submerged and unusable. China's economy was growing rapidly until a few years ago, so there was potential for further growth in the future. GDP would have grown and money would have been abundant. At that time, I think we could have done flood control or relocated the city, but the current economic environment in China has deteriorated, so we don't have a lot of money. I'm not doing the construction that should be done when I have a lot of money, so I'm going to enter a phase where I can't do construction even if I want to. If it is a normal country, the priority is to develop its own land first, but China is doing things like space development, strengthening military power, or going to other countries and lending money to control them. A political system in which the voices of the general public are not reflected at all in politics can lead to rapid economic growth, but the presence of the people will diminish, so domestic investment will be postponed. It is the Chinese Communist Party's fault that the Chinese people's lives do not improve or they cannot live safely. I would like you to think about what could be the root cause. By the way, I will explain about Taiwan where typhoons are passing in the same way. The typhoon that caused great damage to Beijing also passed near Taiwan, but it also caused damage. For example, transportation has stopped, especially airplanes. However, this is not only a problem in Taiwan, as it is common throughout the world that planes do not fly when a typhoon comes. It was reported that more than 10,000 tourists were stranded due to the typhoon. Other damage included power outages that affected 55,000 homes, and some people died in water accidents. Human power cannot completely prevent natural disasters. We can reduce the damage as close to zero as possible. Even though the same thing happens every year, China suffers the same damage year after year. That's all for now. See you next time.